Hare Krishna. Welcome all of you for this special reading session series, Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Let us begin with prayers. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Welcome all the devotees for the reading session. Today we are beginning a very interesting, very important book authored by our beloved spiritual master, Vishwaguru Srila Prabhupada, that is Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, a treatise on factual spiritual life. So, this book, Srila Prabhupada dedicates to His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. In the very beginning of this book, it is mentioned, dedicated to the sacred service of Srila Sachidananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who initiated the teachings of Lord Chaitanya in the Western world in 1896, the year of my birth, writes Srila Prabhupada. So let us begin reading this wonderful book. We will begin with the preface. There is no difference between the teachings of Lord Chaitanya presented here and the teachings of Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. The teaching of Lord Chaitanya is a practical demonstration of the teaching of Lord Krishna. In the Bhagavad Gita, the last word of the Lord is that everyone should surrender unto him, Lord Krishna, and that he will take immediate charge of such a surrendered soul. The Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is already in charge of the maintenance of this creation by his plenary expansion as Kshirodakashayi Vishnu. But such maintenance by the Lord is not specific. When, therefore, the Lord takes charge, it means that he takes particular charge of a pure devotee. A pure devotee is a soul ever surrendered to the Lord, like a child to his parents, or an animal to its master. This surrendering process is manifested in six different stages, namely, 1. To accept things favorable for discharging devotional service. 2. To reject things unfavorable for discharging devotional service. 3. To believe firmly that the Lord will protect his devotee always. 4. To feel exclusively dependent on the mercy of the Lord. 5. To have no separate interest besides the interest of the Lord. And 6. Always to feel oneself meek and humble. Therefore, Lord Krishna demanded that one should surrender unto him through the above mentioned six phases of the surrendering process. But the less intelligent class of men and so called scholars of the world misunderstood these demands of the Lord and thus misguided the general mass of people to reject them. In the Bhagavad Gita, at the end of the ninth chapter, The Lord directly orders one to always think of Him, become His devotee, worship Him only, offer obeisances unto Him only, and by doing so, one is sure to come to Him in His transcendental abode. But so called scholarly demons misguide the mass of people, directing them not to surrender like that to the personality of Godhead, but rather to the impersonal, non manifested, eternal, unborn truth. The Mayavadi impersonalist philosophers do not accept that the last word in the matter of understanding the absolute truth is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If one desires to understand the sun as he is, one faces first of all the sunshine and then the sun globe, and at last, if one is able to enter into that globe, there is the possibility of seeing face to face the predominating deity of the sun. The Mayavadi philosophers, due to a poor fund of knowledge, cannot go beyond the Brahman effulgence, which is like the sunshine. The Upanishads confirm that one has to penetrate the dazzling effulgence of Brahman, and then one can see the real face of the personality of Godhead. Lord Chaitanya therefore teaches us directly that one has to worship Lord Krishna, who appeared as the foster child of the king of Braja. He also recommends that the place known as Vrindavan is as good as Lord Krishna because Lord Krishna, being the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, there is no difference between his name, quality, form, pastimes, entourage, and paraphernalia. Lord Chaitanya also recommended that the mode of worshipping the Lord in the highest perfectional stage is the method of worship conceived by the damsels of Braja. The damsels of Braja, the gopis, simply loved Krishna without any motive for material or spiritual gain. He also recommended that Srimad Bhagavatam is the spotless narration of transcendental knowledge, and that the highest gain in the human form of life is to develop unalloyed love for Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Chaitanya's teachings are exactly the same as those given by Lord Kapila, the original propounder of the Sankhya Yoga or the Sankhya system of philosophy. This authorized system of yoga is practiced on the principle of meditation on the transcendental form of the Lord. There is no meditating on something void or impersonal involved. When one is practiced to meditate upon the transcendental form of Lord Vishnu, even without the sitting posture in a particular place and atmosphere, the stage is called perfect samadhi. This perfect samadhi of Sankhya Yoga is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita at the end of the sixth chapter, where the Lord says that of all the yogis, one who constantly thinks of the Lord within the core of his heart with love and devotion is the greatest. Lord Chaitanya instructed this Sankhya Yoga or system of philosophy called Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva, which is simultaneously one and different. Most practically, for everyone among the mass of people, simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord. He says that the holy name of the Lord is the sound vibration form of the Lord. The Lord being the absolute whole, there is no difference between his holy name and his transcendental form. Therefore, By chanting the holy name of the Lord, one can directly associate with the Supreme Lord by sound vibration. This sound vibration of the Lord has three stages of development, namely 1. Offensive stage, 2. Clearing stage, and 3. Transcendental stage. In the offensive stage, one may desire all kinds of material happiness or distress as one acts, but in the second stage of chanting, one becomes cleared from all material contamination. But when one is situated on the transcendental stage, one achieves the most covetable perfection, the stage of loving God. Lord Chaitanya recommended that this is the highest stage of perfection for the human being. Yoga practice is essentially meant for controlling the senses. Mind is the central controlling factor of all senses, and therefore one has to practice first controlling the mind by engaging the mind in the matter of Krishna consciousness. The gross activities of the mind are expressed through the external senses, either for acquiring knowledge or functioning under the will, and the subtle activities of the mind are thinking, feeling, and willing according to the different attitudes of consciousness. This consciousness is either polluted or clear. If the mind is fixed up in Krishna or his name, quality, form, pastimes, entourage, and paraphernalia, then the whole of the activities, subtle and gross, is changed favorably. The Bhagavad Gita's process of purifying consciousness is to fix the mind on Krishna, to talk of his transcendental activities, to cleanse the temple of the Lord, to walk to the temple of the Lord, to see the beautiful transcendental form of the Lord nicely decorated, to hear his transcendental glories, to taste foodstuffs offered to the Lord, to smell the flowers and tulasi leaves offered to the Lord, to associate with the Lord's devotees, to engage oneself in the activities for the interest of the Lord, and to become angry also at those who are envious of the devotees. No one can stop the activities of the mind or the senses, but one can purify such activities by changing the account. This change of account is recommended in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 39. A human being is sometimes restricted in the matter of sense gratification under certain circumstances of disease, etc. But that prescription or regulative principle is for the less intelligent class of men. Such less intelligent men, without knowing the actual process of controlling the mind and senses, either want to stop them by force, or to give them up, or to be carried away by the waves of sense gratification. The eight formulas of practicing yoga, regulative principles, following the rules, practicing the different sitting postures, breathing exercise, and thus to withdraw the senses from the sense objects, etc., are meant for the persons who are too engrossed in the bodily concept of life. But the intelligent man who is situated in Krishna consciousness does not forcibly stop his senses from acting on behalf of Krishna. You cannot stop a child from his playful activities and leave him inactive, but you can stop him by engaging him in superior activities. Similarly, the forceful restraint of the sense activities by following the eight principles of yoga practice is recommended for an inferior class of men, but the superior class of men, being engaged in the better activities of Krishna consciousness, naturally retire from the inferior activities of material existence. Lord Chaitanya, in this way, teaches us the science of Krishna consciousness, which is absolute. Dry mental speculators try to restrain themselves from material attachment, but it is generally found that the mind, being too strong to be controlled, sometimes drags such speculators down in the matter of sensual activities, but there is no such chance for persons in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, one has to engage one's mind and senses in Krishna conscious activities, and how this is practically possible is taught by the Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Before his acceptance of the sannyas or renounced order of life, Lord Chaitanya was known as Vishwambhara. Vishwambhara means the one who maintains the whole universe as leader of all living entities. The very same maintainer and leader of all living entities appeared as Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The very same maintainer and leader of all living entities appeared as Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya to give us the sublime teachings of life, and was the ideal teacher of the prime necessities of life. He is the most munificent giver of the love of Krishna. He is the complete reservoir of all mercies and auspiciousness. Although he is the supreme personality of Godhead Krishna, as is confirmed in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata, and Upanishads, he appeared as worshipable by everyone in this age of disagreement. Everyone can join in his Sankirtan movement without any previous qualification, and everyone can become the most perfect human being by following his teachings. If anyone is fortunate enough to be attracted by all his features of manifestation, one is sure to be successful in the mission of one's life. In one word, those who are interested in being situated in spiritual existence can get easily relieved from the clutches of Maya by the grace of Lord Chaitanya, now presented in the book form of Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, non-different from the Lord. The conditioned soul, being engrossed in the material body, increases the pages of history of all kinds of material activities. But the teachings of Lord Chaitanya can help the human society to stop such unnecessary and temporary activities, and can elevate one to the topmost platform of spiritual activities, which begin after liberation from material bondage. Such liberated activities in Krishna consciousness are the goal of human perfection. The false prestige of acquiring lordship over the material nature is illusion only, and one can get illuminating knowledge from the teachings of Lord Chaitanya in order to advance in one's spiritual existence. One has to suffer or enjoy the fruits of one's activity, and nobody can check the laws of material nature which govern such things. So long as one is engaged in such activities, one is sure to be baffled in attempting to achieve the ultimate goal of life. I hope, therefore, most sincerely that by understanding the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, human society will have a new light of spiritual life, opening the field of activities of the pure soul. Om Tat Sat. Signed A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, 14th March 1968, the birthday of Lord Chaitanya, Sri Sri Radha Krishna Temple, New York. So we just now read the preface uh, to Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, this particular book by Srila Prabhupada. Now we shall be reading the prologue. The Life of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by Srila Thakur Bhakti Vinod. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born in Mayapur in the town of Nadia just after sunset on the evening of the 23rd Phalgun 1407 Shakabda, answering to the 18th February 1486 of the Christian era. The moon was eclipsed at the time of his birth, and the people of Nadia were then engaged, as is usual on such occasions, in bathing in the Bhagirathi with loud cheers of Hari Bol. His father, Jagannath Mishra, was a poor Brahmana of the Vedic order, and his mother, Shachi Devi, was a model good woman, both descended from the Brahmin stocks originally residing in Sylhet. Mahaprabhu was a beautiful child, and the ladies of the town came to see him with presents. His mother's father, Pandit Nilambar Chakravarti, a renowned astrologer, foretold that the child would be a great personage in time, and he therefore gave him the name Vishwambhar. The ladies of the neighborhood styled him Gaur Hari on account of his golden complexion, and his mother called him Nimai on account of the neem tree near which he was born. Beautiful as the lad was, everyone heartily loved to see him every day. As he grew up, he became a whimsical and frolicsome lad. After his fifth year, he was admitted into a school where he picked up Bengali in a very short time. Most of his contemporary biographers have mentioned certain anecdotes regarding Chaitanya which are simply records of his early miracles. It is said that when he was an infant in his mother's arms, he wept continually, and when the neighboring ladies and his mother cried Hari Bol, he used to stop. Thus, there was a continuation of the utterance of Hari Bol in the house, foreshowing the future mission of the hero. It has also been stated that when his mother once gave him sweetmeats to eat, he ate clay instead of the food. His mother asking for the reason, he stated that as every sweetmeat was nothing but clay transformed, he could eat clay as well. His mother, who was the consort of a Pandit, explained that every article in a special state was adapted to a special use. Earth, while in the form of a jug, could be used as a water pot, but in the state of a brick, such a use was not possible. Clay, therefore, in the form of sweetmeats, was usable as food and not clay in its other states. The lad was convinced and admitted his stupidity in eating clay and agreed to avoid the mistake in future. Another miraculous act has been related. It is said that a Brahmin on pilgrimage became a guest in his house and cooked his food and read his grace with the meditation on Krishna. In the meantime, the lad came and ate up the cooked rice. The Brahmin, astonished at the lad's act, cooked again at the request of Jagannath Mishra. The lad again ate up the cooked rice, while the Brahmin was offering the rice to Krishna with meditation. The Brahmin was persuaded to cook for a third time. This time all the inmates of the house had fallen asleep, and the lad showed himself as Krishna to the traveller and blessed him. The Brahmin was then lost in ecstasy at the appearance of the object of his worship. It has also been stated that two thieves stole away the lad from his father's door with a view to purloin his jewels and gave him sweetmeats on the way. The lad exercised his illusory energy and deceived the thieves back towards his own house. The thieves, for fear of detection, left the boy there and fled. Another miraculous act has been described of the lads demanding and getting from Hiranya and Jagadisha all the offerings they had collected for worshipping Krishna on the day of Ekadashi. When only 4 years of age, he sat on rejected cooking pots which were considered unholy by his mother. He explained to his mother that there was no question of holiness and unholiness as regards earthen pots thrown away after the cooking was over. These anecdotes relate to the tender age up to the 5th year. In his 8th year, he was admitted into the toll of Gangadas Pandit in Ganganagar, close by the village of Mayapur. In 2 years, he became well read in Sanskrit grammar and rhetoric. His readings after that were of the nature of self-study in his own house, where he had found all important books belonging to his father, who was a Pandit himself. It appears that he read the Smriti in his own study and the Nyaya also, in competition with his friends, who were then studying under the celebrated Pandit Raghunath Shiromani. Now, after the after the 10th year of his age, Chaitanya became a passable scholar in grammar, rhetoric, the Smriti, and the Nyaya. It was after this that his elder brother Vishwarupa left his house and accepted the ashram or status of a sannyasi or ascetic. Chaitanya, though a very young boy, consoled his parents, saying that he would serve them with a view to please God. Just after that, his father left this world. His mother was exceedingly sorry, and Mahaprabhu, with his usually contented appearance, consoled his widowed mother. It was at the age of 14 or 15 that Mahaprabhu was married to Lakshmi Devi, the daughter of Vallabha Acharya, also of Nadia. He was at this age considered one of the best scholars of Nadia, the renowned seat of Nyaya philosophy and Sanskrit learning. Not to speak of the Smarta Pandits, the Nayikas were all afraid of confronting him in literary discussions. Being a married man, he went to eastern Bengal on the banks of the Padma for acquirement of wealth. There he displayed his learning and obtained a good sum of money. We will continue to read in the next session. Thank you so much for joining. We shall be having this reading session every day, 1:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Please do join us. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Vishwa Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.